This is our last lesson, lesson number 5 in our earning power unit. And this lesson is about planning for change. So your career is going to have many highs and lows, and if you can create a plan and continually invest in yourself, you're going to see that it's going to be a lot easier to get through those low times, and you'll be able to get through them faster. A little preparation is going to go a long way when your income takes a dive or when it's low. Of course, it's easier to prepare if you know in advance that a change is coming, such as when you decide to quit a summer job to focus on school or when you move to a new city. Still, there's a lot you can do in advance to ease the stress of a layoff or unexpected work interruption. So what you learn in this lesson will help you deal with the temporary or unexpected drops in income. So first I want to ask you this question. I want you to kind of think about what challenges teens face when it comes to predicting their income. So find a scratch piece of paper. I just want you to brainstorm a list of challenges that teens face when it comes to predicting income. You know, teens, they don't really have a regular predictable income year-round. So what are some reasons why they don't have that? Go ahead and pause this video and come up with at least 3 to 5 ideas of what teens face when it comes to predicting their income. All right, I hope you were able to come up with a list of at least 3 things, up to 5 things, or maybe even more as you were kind of writing and brainstorming ideas. So here are some examples. There are irregular hours and work schedule that you might face as a teenager. When I was a teen working, I had sports practice after school, and really the only time that I could work was on the weekends. Some states have an age limit. You can't work past like 7 o'clock on a weeknight or 9 o'clock on a weekend if you are below the age of 16. You might only have few working hours, and that kind of goes along with when I was a high schooler. I couldn't work all the time because I had school. So there were only a few limited hours that I could work. Lower paying jobs because as a high schooler you haven't had all the training as an adult. You also probably don't have as much experience as adults either. Unfavorable or inconvenient hours that interfere with school and extracurricular activities. There'd be times when I would have to choose between going to a school fundraiser on the weekend and working. And sometimes I would choose going to a fundraiser or a fun activity, and sometimes I'd choose that, hey, I really need to work. There might be a lack of transportation. If you're not 16, you don't have your driver's license, somebody has to get you to and from work. It might be that there's temporary or seasonal work. So temporary work or seasonal work, that usually happens in the summer. Things like amusement parks open up, or you just might only be allowed to work during the summer vacation time. Also, seasonal jobs happen a lot during Christmas when retail stores are selling a lot more and people are frequently shopping. So those are just some of the challenges that teens face when they are predicting their income. So here's that list put up on a PowerPoint slide. And you know, the reality is that there are going to be dry times when you are either not earning an income or you're earning less than expected so that you can meet your payment obligations and savings goals. And as adults, you're going to encounter similar dips in income due to seasonal work or a change in business decisions and personal choices as well. As adults, you might even come into or run into more income flow challenges, especially this interruption in your work situation. You could get laid off or fired. You might have to go on disability leave or unpaid leave depending on a situation. You might be on military duty, or you might take a sabbatical. It could be that your work situation was interrupted due to personal choice or even incarceration. So adults and teenagers, we all run into these dips in income, these dry times. And it's really good to be prepared for this change and plan ahead. So what will you do if changes like this do occur? Well, that's what we're going to answer today. We're going to answer these questions. How will your work situation impact your financial status? Well, if you're working, you're going to have more money than if you're not working. How do you manage your spending when your income isn't predictable? So if you're not making what you expect to make, how can you make sure that you're still spending within your means? How can you improve your chances of being hired and keeping a job? And we'll look at options that you have to make sure that you are more qualified for a job than somebody else. And what is an entrepreneur? So we're going to be able to use what you've learned today to prepare for changes in your job status. So here is a Chinese proverb that says, dig the well before you are thirsty. How do you think this proverb applies to a person's work status and income? As in, how can you apply this to your job? Particularly, how can you apply this to your job and your income when your work situation changes or your income source is interrupted? Well, it's a whole lot easier to do the work, like digging a well, before you actually need to use it. And that's kind of what this proverb is saying. It's saying if you can do the work before you actually run into trouble, it's going to be a whole lot easier to fix that problem, like being thirsty. I don't want to have to dig a well, which could take a lot of work and a lot of time, and it might be hot outside when I'm thirsty. I'd rather already have the well dug, so that way when I'm thirsty, I can dip in and I can get a nice cool drink of water. So let's apply this to your income. I want you to make a list on that same list that you brainstormed. Come up with a list of strategies you could use when you are dealing with a dip in your income. And you can go ahead and pause this video while you do that. There are a number of people in this world who have gone from homeless to billionaires. And one of those people is Jean-Paul DeJoria. So I'm going to have you pause this video and go to another YouTube video. It is titled The Once Homeless Billionaire, My Keys to Success. And this is Jean-Paul DeJoria. He is the co-founder of John Paul Mitchell, which if you've ever heard of the hair care line John Paul Mitchell, then he is the co-founder of this. So I want you to go ahead, pause this video, find this video, The One Homeless Billionaire, My Keys to Success, and listen to his keys to success from how he went from being homeless to a hair care billionaire. So I think Jean-Paul DeJoria, he's pretty cool. He's got a lot of great tips to success, and I think having a positive outlook on his life is really also what helped him make sure that he was going to get through those tough times. So we're going to build an offensive strategy for how to deal with times that your money income might be low. And, you know, as a teenager, you might not have yet experienced or be confident with managing your money. But you've already developed skills to cope with these irregular income sources. Those skills of saving money and making sure that you're making a budget, they're going to be able to be applied later when you're in between jobs as an adult. So here are some ways that you can fill your well. You can build an emergency fund for a rainy day. That's one of the most important ways right now as a young adult that you can make sure that you are going to be okay later. Many business strategies and financial strategies say that you should have up to 3 months in savings as like a rainy day fund, so that if you lose your job, you at least have 3 months for paying for your house and paying for utilities and foods. Now, this doesn't include shopping and fun spending money, but this is just an emergency fund for all of those payments that you might have to have. And they say save that up so that you could pay at least 3 months in advance. Control your debt load is another thing that you can do. Make sure that you're not building up debt, because if you lose your job, you're still going to be expected to pay that money back. Have insurance. Have good insurance. If you were to fall ill or get into an accident and not have a job, you are going to have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for health care. Whereas with insurance, you're only going to be spending, maybe $300 to $500 a month, and the insurance will take the rest. Be a valued employee. Let your employer know that they can really not have anybody better doing the job. Be a valued employee so that they want to keep you on the job, and so that if you need a reference, you can go to them and ask them for a letter of reference. Grow your relationships with your employees, with your employers and your co-workers. Don't burn bridges. Burning bridges will only get everybody hurt. And build a network of personal references. This goes back to being a valued employee. Find people in your life right now that you could ask for help writing personal reference letters and being a reference for you on job applications. Watch for opportunities for additional income within your job. If you have the opportunity to work overtime and you're free, work overtime. That's great money. If you are a babysitter and you know that this couple's friends also need a babysitter, well, let them know that you're free. And build up your skills and keep learning. Don't just stay in one field of just very simple work. If you can grow your field, that's going to help you move into management positions and earn more money later on. I'm going to leave you with this assignment. It's activity 3.13, downsizing my financial plan, to adjust your spending plans for a what-if situation that could cause you to have a drop in income. So on our very first unit, you completed a My Spending Plan. So you're going to be using your spending plan and trying to figure out how you would manage if you didn't have as much money in your income as you planned for. So you can complete activity 3.13, downsizing my financial plan, and that will be the end of this first part of the lesson. Talk to you later.